What if the most shocking moment in Dutton Ranch episode 5 wasn't the death we witnessed, but the secret that was left behind afterward? What if one terrified witness now holds the truth that could destroy powerful people, tear apart the ranch, and ignite a war that no one can stop? And what if the biggest threat isn't standing out in the open, but hiding behind a badge and a smile? Episode 5 delivered one of the most intense endings of the season, and by the time the credits rolled, nothing felt the same anymore. A man was dead, Carter was carrying a burden that could change everything, Beth was making dangerous moves behind the scenes, and Rip was standing at a crossroads that could define his future. Today we're breaking down everything that happened and what it could mean for the episodes ahead. At the beginning of the episode, it feels like everyone is trying to move forward after the devastating losses that have haunted the ranch. Rip and Beth continue dealing with the fallout of losing their cattle herd. For anyone else, it might seem like a business setback, but for Rip, it is much more personal. The herd represented the future. It represented stability. It represented the dream that brought them here in the first place. Without it, Rip is forced to face a reality he never wanted to accept. For perhaps the first time in a long time, he doesn't have control over his own destiny. Throughout the episode, we see Rip trying to stay strong. That's who he has always been. No matter how bad things get, Rip keeps moving forward. But beneath the surface, the cracks are beginning to show. The confidence is still there, but there is also frustration. There is disappointment. There is a growing sense that every time he takes one step forward, something drags him to steps back. Beth notices this immediately. Nobody understands Rip better than Beth. She can see the weight he is carrying, even when he refuses to talk about it. And while Rip is focused on surviving, Beth is already looking ahead. She is thinking about the next move, the next opportunity, the next battle. That battle arrives in the form of Beulah. One of the most fascinating parts of episode 5 is watching Beth and Beulah interact. On the surface, their conversations appear professional, polite, friendly, even. But anyone who knows Beth Dutton understands that nothing is ever that simple. Every word she speaks has a purpose. Every question hides another question. Every smile conceals a strategy. Beth approaches Beulah with a proposal that could benefit both sides. At least that's how it sounds. But the real tension comes from the fact that neither woman truly trusts the other. They are studying each other, testing each other, looking for weaknesses and opportunities. It's less like a business negotiation and more like two predators circling each other before a fight. The reason these scenes matter is because they quietly establish what may become one of the most important conflicts of the season. Beth is trying to secure a future for the ranch. Beulah is protecting her own interests. Eventually, those goals may collide. And when powerful people stop pretending to be allies, things tend to get dangerous very quickly. But while Beth is playing her game and Rip is fighting to rebuild, another storyline is moving toward disaster. That storyline belongs to Carter. From the beginning of the series, Carter has been searching for a place where he belongs. He has been trying to grow up, trying to prove himself, trying to find his identity in a world that often seems cruel and unforgiving. Throughout the season, we have watched him make mistakes, learn lessons, and slowly mature. But episode 5 changes him forever. The turning point comes during the shocking events surrounding Dwight. As the tension rises, law enforcement arrives and the situation spirals out of control. What follows is one of the most controversial and disturbing moments of the season. Dwight ends up dead after being shot by Sheriff Wade. At first glance, the incident may appear straightforward. That's certainly how some characters want it to look. But the episode carefully shows us details that don't quite fit the official narrative. Something feels wrong. Something feels incomplete. And Carter sees everything. This is the moment that transforms him from a bystander into one of the most important characters in the story. Because Carter knows what happened. He knows what he saw. And he knows the version of events being presented to everyone else doesn't match reality. Imagine the pressure that creates. Carter is still young. He isn't a politician. He isn't a businessman. He isn't a hardened ranch hand like Rip. He's just a kid who suddenly finds himself carrying information powerful enough to destroy careers and expose corruption. And that's exactly what makes him vulnerable. After Dwight's death, the tension doesn't disappear. It gets worse. Sheriff Wade makes it very clear that Carter should stay quiet. Whether the message is delivered directly or indirectly, the meaning is impossible to miss. Forget what happened. Don't ask questions. Don't tell anyone. This is one of the most chilling moments in the episode because it reveals something important about Wade's character. A person who believes they did nothing wrong usually doesn't spend time worrying about witnesses. But Wade seems very concerned about what Carter knows. That concern creates a huge question hanging over the rest of the season. What exactly is Wade hiding? The brilliance of this storyline is that the audience now shares Carter's burden. We know he saw something significant. We know he is scared. And we know that every moment he stays silent increases the tension. The real tragedy isn't just Dwight's death. It's the loss of Carter's innocence. Before this episode, Carter still believed that adults generally followed rules. He believed authority figures could be trusted. He believed right and wrong were relatively clear. Now he has witnessed something that challenges everything he thought he knew. He has seen power used in ways that feel dangerous. He has seen fear used as a weapon. He has seen death up close. And once someone experiences that, there is no going back. The Carter we see at the end of episode 5 is not the same Carter from earlier in the season. He is carrying fear, confusion, guilt, and anger all at the same time. The most important question now becomes simple. Who will he tell? Because eventually, secrets like this don't stay buried. The obvious answer is Beth. If Carter tells Beth what really happened, the entire situation explodes. Beth has never been the kind of person who stays silent when she senses injustice. She doesn't back down from powerful people. She doesn't care about political consequences. If she believes someone threatened Carter or covered up the truth, she will come after them with everything she has. That's what makes the possibility so exciting. The writers know exactly what fans are waiting for. We're waiting for Carter to speak. We're waiting for Beth to learn the truth. And we're waiting to see what happens when she does. But there is an even more explosive possibility. What if Carter tells Rip? Rip Wheeler has always been fiercely protective of the people he loves. He doesn't need a long speech. He doesn't need evidence stacked in neat folders. If he discovers someone intimidated Carter after a questionable shooting, his reaction could be immediate and devastating. And that's where the suspense becomes almost unbearable. The audience knows the truth is a ticking time bomb. The only mystery is when it will explode. As if that weren't enough, Episode 5 also hints that Rip is beginning to notice other inconsistencies around him. Small details, strange circumstances, pieces of information that don't quite fit together. He may not have the full picture yet, but he is starting to ask questions. That matters because Rip is dangerous when he starts connecting dots. Once he decides something is wrong, he rarely stops until he finds the answer. This creates the possibility that multiple storylines are moving toward the same destination. Beth's business maneuvering, Rip's growing suspicions, Carter's secret, Wade's fear. All of these threads are slowly tightening into one massive knot. And sooner or later, that knot is going to snap. One of the smartest aspects of Episode 5 is its title. At first, the title suggests calmness, stability, maybe even healing. But by the end of the episode, the title feels almost ironic. Nobody finds peace. Not Rip, not Beth, not Carter. And certainly not Dwight. Instead, the episode shows that peace may be the one thing these characters can never truly achieve. Every time they get close, another conflict appears. Another secret emerges. Another tragedy changes everything. That's what makes the ending so effective. It doesn't provide answers. It creates questions. Lots of them. Can Carter keep the truth hidden? Will Beth discover what's really happening? Is Wade guilty of more than we currently know? Can Rip rebuild what has been lost? And are Beth's dealings with Beulah leading toward a partnership or a future war? These questions are what keep viewers invested. Because deep down, we know the calm moments never last long in this world. The ending of Episode 5 isn't really about Dwight's death. It's about consequences. Every major storyline in the episode revolves around consequences. The consequences of loss. The consequences of power. The consequences of secrets. And the consequences of choosing silence over truth. By the time the credits roll, the season feels completely different. The focus is no longer simply survival. Now it's about what happens when buried truths start finding their way to the surface. And if history has taught us anything, it's that secrets have a way of coming out eventually. No matter how powerful the people involved may be, no matter how much